Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 448. This is your guide to the geek side, and it is week 4 of Shocktober. I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra from Shrieking Savage, and joined by Charlie Carden from White Fear, Grand Rapids.
From Eagerville, East Grand Rapids, or East Blaine Rapids,
the home
as they
of
call
White
my town.
Flight. Oh, wait.
White Flight Inn. No, White Flight was the name of my old home in the east side of Detroit, where my dad grew up.
The home place of White Flight.
Yeah. So Shrieking Savage, who poked it?
Oh, plenty of people. Yes,
there's plenty of poking.
All the wild coyotes are shrieking.
Oh my goodness! Oh wow, do you guys have real wild coyotes?
There, Charlie. You know those Facebook groups about concerned citizens of Savage. They're ongoing jokes. People always see coyotes. There are booms going off, and what is that noise? Hey, did anybody see those cops? I mean,
we have an East Grand Rapids neighbors group, and the latest controversy that the city was trying to do that people tore apart was getting rid of gas leaf blowers, and it turned into a joke that at homecoming, some resident fictitiously said, "Hey, I'm going to run naked on the field during homecoming," and some guy in the comments said, "And have a gas leaf blower with you. You'll get arrested twice over."
I'm sure someone will run on that platform. I will not be banning gas.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny because we have a city council race going on right now, and that's absolutely the platform of one of the two women. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't at all.
No, I would not. I would guess it would be. But, if it's not, somebody needs to get on that because that'll probably push them over the limit. But you know what? We're not here to talk about local politics. We're here to talk about geek culture and the wonderful people that keep supporting and making the things that we love. And that's the actors. They are on day 112 of the actors strike.
Oh my
gosh. At this point, they could exceed the writer's strike because I think a lot of people thought this would be easy once the writers was done.
Like dominoes, right? Like just be like, oh, it'll fall right into place.
But to be honest, the pot of money is bigger for the actors because they're acting for residuals. The funniest thing I saw recently, Charlie, was SAG was asking for $500 million, and it's like ridiculous percent of the total revenue. So it's a very small amount per year. That's what they're acting for, residuals for all actors. And the AMT PTP
Scooby Dooby Dee.
Yes, came back and said, "We'll give you $20 million."
What a bargain!
But along the way, Netflix has just raised its price, yet having one of the most successful years it's ever had. HBO Max said it's now profitable. Disney has just raised prices on. I mean, so you see what we're getting into.
But they're going to lose all their profits, Todd. What's going to happen?
Exactly. They're not passing along the profits to anyone else.
Who's actually making the content? Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. It's hard to feel sorry for this, but it is kind of funny because that's a big part. Also, AI and using digital likeness. Apparently, day one, you have to consent or not consent to its use. That's part of the deal. And actors so wait, I have to choose beforehand before I start a project without knowing. And so it's almost like saying, well, we're not going to employ you unless you agree to it. So it's almost going to be like a scare tactic. It's almost like, well, I got to work, so I'm going to sign up for it. So it's not a good deal. The other thing that was funny, Charlie, Fran Drescher is telling actors as part of this not to wear costumes that are part of struck work, which everybody's like, are you kidding me?
I saw a scathing post by J.G. Hertzler, who played General Martin on Deep Space Nine. He's going to be a guest at Grand Rapids Comic-Con, which is my chapter's big show. I'll talk about that in a little while. Where he was just scathing. He says, I can't believe he kept using the word friggin', but you know what he really wanted to say.
Frackin'?
Frackin'.
You can't use frack because that's BSG.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm very excited because actually one of the events that we're kind of co-hosting or contributing is a Klingon drinking party at a local bar with both J.G. Hertzler, General Martok, and with Robert O'Reilly, who was Gowron, the guy with the big eyes with all the memes.
Oh yeah.
And us, and it was that was a project that was really launched by my wife, by somebody we met in Las Vegas. It's a wild story. But anyway, I won't pontificate. I'll give a plug at the end because that show's coming up. It's very exciting. We have a big charity auction and Grand Rapids Comic-Con in general for the Grand Petoskey. But I digress. By the way, of course, visit entertainment community.org and contribute to help these folks if you can. But Todd you stole my thunder. I usually do the top half and then I toss you the cover. But I'm going to keep rolling, talking about our awesome Patreons. These are the super cool folks who give us the oomph we need. They're the wind beneath our wings to make the fun extra content that we bring out to you. Todd and I do the Spinner Rack, talking about some comics. I have a great show called The Facts of Geek Life, where we take a classic season of a classic television series and lampoon a few episodes and have a good time. But yeah, these folks make it possible. If you visit patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite, you can try us out for a full week. Listen to some of our content. If you stick around, that's good too. But these are our top tier friends. Friends with benefits includes Corey and HD, John Sdorf, the Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, and Brendan Myers. BFFs are top tier. The awesome Nias family, Sean, Stella, and Henry. My dear friend Missy Merchant and Andy Milliken. And Todd, we have a spotlight this week. I love how you do these spotlights. I apologize if I don't always sneak these into Code 47, but we'll beam you up some benefits at some point. I promise. I'll stay all over it.
You're slacking, Carden. You're going to be demoted for dereliction of duty.
Oh my gosh, I'll be cleaning the plasma transfer conduits on my ship. Scrub.
Exactly. So this week, and part of the Patreon benefits, if you sign up for the BFF level, $5, you get everything. It's a great deal. You get assigned a superpower on SFU. You get assigned a power-up on co-op mode. You get assigned... What is the Star Wars one, Charlie? A weird name? A Star Wars name? Is that what it is?
Probably
Alien?
So. And if you want to plug somebody, I think Mark's fallen down on the job. I leave that to him, and it hasn't come up. So I guess we better get back on that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get you guys both in shape, man. Goodness. Oh, boy.
And then over on Code 47, we give you the name of a Star Trek race and also a job. A job, yes, essentially a duty, yeah. So you can be a Vulcan proctologist or something. I don't know, whatever the hell. Why not? Hey,
you know what? Hey, that health is very important in space. You never know what you're going to eat in space, Charlie. I mean, you never know. I mean,
eating some of that Klingon food, yeah, it'd be rough
exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah. So, Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, Charlie. So this is two people. Yes, and remind me of their names.
It's our friend Kaylee, our friend Kelly. Kelly G from Wisconsin, and her partner Krayley, who lives down in I'm going to say Southern Illinois.
K and C. Krayley with a C.
Correct. Yeah, name I've never heard
Kelly
before.
with a C.
Not Kelly
with
with
Kelly's with a C. My sister's Kelly with a K.
There's Kathy's with a C, but or there's Kathleen like my mother. But all right, so you got two ladies, cosplayers extraordinaire. Definitely give them a googs if you want to visit their website and kind of check out their content. They have a Patreon as well. But yeah, let's see here. So I know Kelly. Kelly is the big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, and she does, of course, enjoy Star Trek. She's a member of the Grand Petoskey as well. So for Kelly, I'm going to say she's a Slayer on her own. She's a Slayer archaeologist. So she goes to, because she also does the Laura Croft. That's another one of her cosplays. So let's say she's at an archaeology site. Some big old mummified vampires pop up, and she's going to do flips and shit and be throwing wooden stakes and take all that down. So that's her. Yeah. And then so for Krayley, it's an easy one. Krayley is an artist. Her business is called Pokemon or Pokeballs by Krayley. She builds stuff into little Pokemon balls. So to take that a step further, when she builds like let's say I was talking to her about building like one with the Enterprise in it. When she has a Pokeball with something built inside of it, she imbues the powers of that franchise, whatever that may be.
Got to catch them all?
Got to catch them all?
Perfect. Okay. Well, let's see. So Kelly, I always see that she does a lot of her own cosplay designs.
Yes.
So I'm going to give her the superpower, Charlie, that she always has just enough fabric or materials. Never runs out. Like
Never.
Well, maybe you run out, but when you're on a project, you don't have to go back to Frank's Nursery and Craft like 10 times, like a Home Depot project.
I think that's a business that doesn't exist anymore. Why don't you go with Hobby Lobby?
That's true. That's true. I remember when Frank's closed in my thing, and I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think that's important because when you're on a project and you have to leave because you need more crap, that's the worst. Yeah. So that's going to be your project.
So like if she runs out of Velcro, she just goes Velcro, and there's more Velcro.
Well, in the drawer, it just looks, there's more Velcro. So there's always there. But at the end of the project, she still has to,
it works.
Stuff, but so appropriate measurements. She always has the right amount. And then Krayley. So you talked about Pokemon. So I am going to give her the real life power of catching live creatures and keeping them in some type of little ball, so she could catch like rare, stray raccoons. And since
a big ball.
It doesn't say that she can actually tame them or use them. She just like unleashes them, and then they can attack people randomly.
Oh, who doesn't want that? I like it already. Oh my goodness. Well, if you would like to join the Super Squad and have a really random, useless, and possibly dangerous superpower, once again, please visit patreon.com/secret friends unite. 7-day trial. Check out our fun content. And we will look forward to seeing you there. Speaking of things to look forward to, I always look forward to our segue into We Got This Covered, a classic cover with a matching number to the episode that we are producing. Just knock off the first digit. So we're 448. This is issue 48 of DC Comics, The Warlord, from August of 1981. Just out of school treat, because 3 months forward. So yeah, what's the deal with The Warlord? I don't know anything about this dude.
Okay, so Charlie, this one's a weird one because if you look at the Warlord, he is basically wearing Speedos, some shoulder armor, a Thor-like helmet with the big wings on the side.
Bigger. Everything's bigger.
He's got a sword and he's got a gun.
Yeah, like a laser gun and a holster. So it's a real mismatch. And it's weird. His sword is the Thundercat sword. Look, it has like a big part there.
So I will tell you a little bit about him, though.
One thing, he's got a crisscross. He's got a gun in his sword hand and a sword in his gun hand. So he did this.
Well, because you reach across, because you can't really. Okay. You can try to reach down; it just doesn't work as well.
I suppose not.
He's helping himself out. So the Warlord is Travis Morgan. He came from New Earth. He is a former combat-trained pilot for the United States Air Force who accidentally crash-landed in the strange land of Skartaris. So essentially kind of like John Carter of Mars type of deal. This was created in 1975. First special appearance was in 1975, created by Mike Grell, basically writer and artist. Mike Grell did a bunch of other things. He did a run on Green Arrow. He's kind of a cool creative type guy. But yeah, this character, I've not read a thing about him, but I remember seeing all of the comics back then. I'm like, I don't understand what this is about.
As I do too, as I was mentioning to Todd in the pre-roll, today was the actually third day in the last couple months of the basement sale at Argos Comics in Easttown in Grand Rapids. My comic shop my whole life long. New owners are cleaning out the basement. I've talked about this before. And so they have boxes and boxes of multiple copies of stuff that Jim, the old owner, just bought and stuck in the basement, and it sat there for 40 years. Definitely saw this comic, but don't think I saw this issue. But the thing that's really exciting, if you look to the left along the skinny column all the way to the left, extra, introducing Iraq, Son of Thunder, the greatest sword, and it looks like a lightning bolt / sorcery, superstar of all, in a special free 16-page preview comic. There's a picture of it, but that's not the kicker. What it really nails me is an instant collector's item from the new DC. I may have seen this in the dollar bin going through. This is from 40 years ago.
The more you put on a cover, the better it is. And it does the return of the Claw. I don't know who Claw is, but that's got to be important because he's returning.
Gotcha. What's the deal with this piece of art underneath?
So on the DC Wikipedia, it's dcfandom.com. It's essentially him with Arthur Curry, Green Arrow.
Oh yeah,
kind of look similar to each other. One's got more of a silver fox look, and he says, "Cut it out," and he punches him. So it's the Dave Coulier, but
I was about to say
he's punching him. So
Dave
cut it out.
Of course, I've told you that I met Dave Coulier in my dad's shop back in about 1995. Yeah, because he's from St. Clair Shores, which is where our family business was for many years.
Family soccer photos.
He was picking up a roll of film or whatever, but yeah, he came in and he's a little dude wearing a baseball cap, unshaven. I know I've told a story before. Seemed very nice, but seemed like I want to get the F out of here before there was nobody else.
Paparazzi.
It was me and like two other employees in the shop, and I'm like, "Oh, you're Dave Coulier, man. I love Full House. Oh, thanks." I'm like, "I'm gonna get the fuck out of here before people bug him visiting his mom or whatever." So, someone who never gets stopped by the paparazzi because she invented the concept is our senior news correspondent, talking about Madam Webb at 123 and a half, or excuse me, almost 124, because she was born 1/1 of down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, getting ready to bring us the latest news and scoops. Let's go for it.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Oh, it's that time of the year where Madam Webb gets to scare children and she doesn't get arrested for it. She's so happy. Her reign of crankiness will endure one more week before charges can be pressed again.
Time to shine. Well, she just loves the pressing of charges. Oh my gosh, what do we got up here? This is a little near and dear to my heart in two ways. One, that Jonathan Frakes was heavily involved in the show back in the day, and B, that I've never seen it. So tell me all about it. Tell me all about it, Stud.
I was a huge fan of this, Charlie, and we never have talked about it, except I would always say, "Hey, Charlie, it's got TNG folks on," and you're like, "Yes, it does." And that was it. End of story.
As I was again saying in the B-roll, in 2024, we're going to have a lot of time to watch old stuff because there's nothing else going to be on unless you love, Intercourse Island or whatever the hell, the reality TV crap that's going to be on. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So what's coming out back is Gargoyles in a live action fashion for Disney Plus. Gary Dauberman is going to be Gary Dauberman and James Wan actually are partnering on this. James Wan has created this new production house called Atomic Monster, which James Wan used to be tied right to DC. He's now kind of try to get himself free so he can do projects elsewhere, and he's partnered with A24. It's kind of like a production company. So this is cool that he's able to do things for Disney Plus. And this is essentially, Gargoyles was a cartoon that I watched in college because it came out in 1994. I remember seeing it. It started off with a 90-minute movie, kind of like the G.I. Joe had their like almost like a mini series, but it was just
those were actually they were long. They were 5 parts, so it was like 2 hours or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so Gargoyles did that. They kicked it off with a 90-minute movie you could actually buy on a VHS, and it was great. It was very highly influenced by Batman the Animated Series because it was basically by Len Wiseman, who worked on Batman the Animated Series. And the great thing about this show was just a cool premise about these gargoyles who are magical creatures who essentially were betrayed by, I believe it would have been Mordred the Magician. So basically think of like Arthurian times.
Wasn't that Frakes?
No, that he played. I'm blanking on his name. Great businessman who's also a megalomaniac. So kind of like a James Bond villain.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That was the main dude. But
Xanatos was his name.
Xanatos. Oh, and Frank's
great name. Yeah. So they were cursed. Basically frozen in time because they were essentially great warriors for King Arthur. They were frozen, and then I forgot what reanimated them. And they're basically reanimated when the sun goes down, but they were brought back in modern times, New York, and they were transported from Europe over to basically be part of architecture, I guess, like gargoyles. And it just basically was a great run on a long-running storyline with great characters, a family of gargoyles essentially. And Goliath was the main character, voiced by Keith David, and then Demona was his great love, voiced by Marina Sirtis.
Oh, yes.
There was always conflict. So it was great because, you said Jonathan Frakes. Xanatos was like the big bad, but he was also charming. But he also,
like Lex Luthor, yeah.
Yeah, it was very much a Lex Luthor play. But great series, really well done. Ran for about 7 years. Then it was brought back on an ABC Saturday morning where they tried to continue it, but it didn't work very well.
Yeah.
There is a video game, Charlie, which just got from back in the 90s, which just got remastered and is out now. So they're trying to really build up this franchise. They have the toy line by... I'm trying to remember the toy line that does like the $35 really good editions you find at Target. Is it NECA?
Oh, yeah, NECA. Yeah, NECA.
So I bought a Goliath. It's wonderful. It's huge, highly detailed, wonderful line too. So this is going all in to this series.
NECA's done some nice lines for Alien, Predator, even Back to the Future. Some of those were pretty cool. So just waiting for them to go on clearance. I was going to snag some, but
I do too, because there's I would love a good Ash from Army of Darkness. Some of the ones I'd like. So it's hard to find them when they go away because sometimes they actually don't make a lot. So then they go and raise in value. But
looks like your guy Dauberman wrote Annabelle Creation, and Annabelle Comes Home. And my personal favorite, we were scrolling through these, Annabelle Goes to Summer Camp. No, that wasn't a movie.
Annabelle Comes Home. Yeah. He also penned the Conjuring spinoff, The Nun, which is going to be on.
We've seen them.
Is it going to be on HBO Max? Nun 2 is going to be on HBO Max next week.
Yes,
right before Halloween.
As well as Five Nights at Freddy, who comes out next week, and April wants to watch that.
Yeah.
This seems cool. So, and again, much like all programming, if this is being written, that's as kind of far as it's going, unless they're saying in this article any of this has been produced and they're just talking about rolling it out now. But let's see.
I think the only reason this is coming out because writers and showrunners are
writing,
planning and writing, so they're getting this stuff out there. And it's kind of to your point. James Wan and Doberman are both have a horror background. I like that coming to Disney Plus, adding a little bit of edge to a series that could be dumbed down. So I like that, and it could really add a new flair. I don't know if this will be just a direct adaptation or a new take on it, but obviously, Keith David, he's getting older in age, but if it's, he's obviously not going to be wearing a suit or anything like that, he could still do the voice.
Right, yeah, it's easy to. Yeah, I don't know about Frakes unless this was Xanatos's, the elder statesman.
He could be. I could see a lot of these actors doing cameos for it though.
Yeah, cameos. Because Frakes in particular left the acting world behind. The only thing he'd really done was when he came back on Picard, because he has a very fruitful career as behind the camera. So anyway, all right, moving on. Todd, I chided you about this next one because I said, "Oh, cool, let's talk about this show that no one will see because of where it's going to be on." But I thought it was kind of interesting. So this is Beacon 23, starring Lena Headey, who is either Irish or Liverpudlian. I couldn't really pin down if that was a Beatles accent I thought her using. But appears she is a mysterious woman in a far, far away space station from Earth, where she's getting into some trouble. So what's the story?
Yeah, this one looks really interesting, and it's got showrunners involved like Zach Penn, who was highly involved with Ready Player One and Avengers, and Glenn Mazzara, really, one of the I would say probably one of the best showrunners on The Walking Dead. Probably
totally.
Prime. Yeah, they're going to be behind this, and it's going to be on MGM Plus, which you're like, what is that service, and why is it a new one? It's actually just changed from Epix to MGM Plus, and the big part is MGM Plus and all of that content was bought by Amazon when they acquired MGM. So what I'm hoping is Amazon will say part of your Prime membership will be MGM Plus, and they'll just do that.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because again, this is debuts November 12th, which is obviously just a few weeks from now, on MGM Plus, which is an Amazon streaming service. But again, so are they trying to tell me? Okay. So this is a day and time kind of deal, November 12th at 9 p.m. Following obviously the successful / quasi successful Disney Plus model that's going on right now. But yeah, there's no real talk about, hey, do I have to go in and sign up for the, nobody's going to really, I mean, I guess there are people out there who would go and sign up for a service for a show, but for a new show, I mean, in this minute and 30-second trailer, I don't think anybody said, oh my God, I'm plunking down my $5 so I can watch this deal. No. I mean, you're right. It does have some talent, but what a weird path to try to launch something. You know what I mean?
I
don't know.
It's strange. MGM Plus does have a pretty good movie and TV collection of classics like Outer Limits, Addams Family, Heat of the Night, that type of stuff. Cagney and Lacey, Charlie, Green Acres. It's got their movie catalog, which is, James Bond. It's got Minority Report movies like that. And it does have some original series, which are pretty good. There's
pretty much all stuff for the boomers is what you described. Like, I want to watch Green Acres. And
there's some good stuff in here, like Godfather Harlem. That's supposed to be kind of a more of a weighty drama piece that we came out with not Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Forrest Whitaker.
There you go.
There's Rogue Heroes, which is by the guys who did Peaky Blinders, which is a kind of a
Blinders. No, you just said Peaky Blinders. What's a blender?
They've got a Rolling Stone documentary. They did a new War of the Worlds series, so they've got an interesting group of new content along with old. But to your point, to sign up for this service, it may be just like they need an outstanding thing to really bring people to the yard. But really, Amazon should probably just say free with Amazon Prime membership, since they keep raising prices anyways.
Yeah. So, they're making all that money so they can not give it to actors. Man.
But I'm hopeful that this could be a standout sci-fi series. And because it's on MGM Plus, Amazon typically doesn't cancel stuff right away. This could be a good sign for the show to find an audience. Like I think of The Expanse, which was a really good original science fiction. Maybe this could be good. And the crew looks cool. It looks like it's got a bunch of different tweaks to it and a mystery involved to find out. So we'll see how this goes.
Very exciting. Well, Todd, get out your flat staff because it's time to beat a dead horse. That's right. It's Star Wars news. So there was a statement this week by creator Matthew Vaughn where he made such a statement. This is the creator of X-Men, Kingsman, and Kick-Ass, director. Does Star Wars need rebooting? Let's face it. It's always been something that looms in this modern era. Everything reboots and this and that, and sideways boots, side boots, like they did with Star Trek with the JJ movies. But yeah, writer director Matthew Vaughn, well known for giving franchises a good kick in the ass, pun intended, is now saying, "Hey, is this something that should be done? Can we possibly reboot and have a new Skywalker trilogy and blah, blah, blah." And so for me, doing a Star Wars movie is to play with characters that I love. Filoni's already doing it, guy. Would love to reboot Star Wars.
He's not playing with those characters much at all, really.
Filoni's
not playing with the OT.
What I'm saying is Filoni in general he's the that meme that said here's Filoni and Jon Favreau doing a Star Wars thing, and it's an old clip of two kids playing with action figures. Yeah. That was where I was coming from.
Oh, yeah. Filoni definitely loves to play with his pocket.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd love if they said to me they'd reboot Star Wars and actually have Luke, Solo, and Vader and do your own version of it. Everyone would say you're an idiot to try, but that would excite me. Todd, I think I can speak for both of us where this is a massive thumbs down. Because it's the ultimate extension of everything you and I kind of feel about the original trilogy. You just got to move on. Even the hardcores out there, some of the people that Mark and I interact with, on Twitter and on X say, "Hey, please let it go. Let it go." Such a big galaxy and other stuff. Yeah.
But he does make a good point. He goes, why are the Star Wars characters so hollowed that from 1977 you can't, he says, redo it for an audience?
Recast.
But what I think you could take from this, and he's saying if someone asked him to do it. So I don't think it's his idea to do it, but I think he says if that's where he wanted to play in Star Wars, he would want to play the characters he loves the most, which quite honestly, I agree with them. Why can't we revisit these characters we love? Not saying let's redo the original trilogy. I think he's wanting to say, let's play with Leia, Luke, Han, because they're the most famous characters, but have the least amount of screen time of any characters in Star Wars recently.
Very true. Well, and again, I adore Mark Hamill, as does, really anyone who enjoys this life enjoys Mark Hamill, particularly his media persona in the last 30-something years with, playing the Joker and just his overall funness. Bringing Luke back for The Mandalorian was great. Did it need to be de-aged him? Should it have been a new actor? I'm definitely in the second camp. As much as I like him, it would have been a nice, easy opportunity to kind of softishly reboot the character in so much as his face, even though it's the same Luke moving forward, because we know after Jedi, and it's been chronicled in canonical books and comics, which again, most people just don't really care about, because if it's not on the screen, it's not known to, the unwashed masses, as it were. But Luke went on, started his Jedi Academy. Eventually he brought his nephew in. His nephew destroyed all of it, became Kylo Ren, yada, yada, yada. So that could stand to generate some interesting stories, but everything with Star Wars is so precarious, with the Lucasfilm Continuity Group, and these comics covered this thing, and then this book did this thing, and then yam. So, a very deceptive concept, but you and I are in alignment with this, that characters that are interesting. I experienced genuine joy and entertainment watching the Solo movie with Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, where some people just couldn't handle it. Oh, or look what a flopperoonie the last Indiana Jones movie was with, because Harrison, I love you, but somebody else could, there's been 47 dudes who played James Bond. I love Indiana Jones, but don't feel that there's no one else who could. Yeah. Well, he wears
Batman's one of the biggest characters in the world, and everybody
he wears a mask. So I'm just kidding.
Well, Bruce Wayne. I mean, you see Bruce Wayne and different voice and things like. Yeah, I just think it's silly that, and quite honestly, we didn't see any of these characters in their prime play themselves again. Last time we saw these characters play their roles, they were senior citizens. Yeah. So it makes sense that you might cast somebody, because we don't really remember how any of these people looked, probably except for because Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher essentially went away from the screen and you never saw them. Harrison Ford, of course, but with Alden Ehrenreich already kind of in the mode, you could do that. Right. So I'm all for it. Let's see more of these characters doing cool stuff post Jedi. Having awesome adventures.
I mean, the piece of that gets discussed is the Filoni film, which could take shape of Heir to the Empire, the book, which I'm not terribly familiar with. I have the audiobook. Maybe before that movie ever gets made, I'll actually listen to it. But, things could take shape that, all of your Filoniverse characters are going to come together. And obviously Ahsoka and Sabine are in the far-flung whatever it is, and they're going to come home at some juncture. Han, Luke, and Leia, bring them back. We already know that Leia's part of stuff. We know Luke's doing his thing. But if it's Thrawn, if he's like the Thanos of Star Wars, it's going to take your whole Avengers team of Star Wars characters to take them on.
It'll be a big one. It'll be a biggie.
It'll be a spicy meatball. All right. Well, Todd, I've told you that I was so bummed out by Spider-Man No Way Home. As great of a film as it was, it really made me sad. And it's just the death of May really kind of bummed me out, even though she's died like 48 times in the comics. It was great, and it was the last real blockbuster that Marvel had, wasn't it? Because Black Panther was before. I know Shang-Chi did well, but I don't think it did. This was a $1.9 billion blockbuster.
It was the biggest post. Yeah. I believe it was the biggest post Endgame movie.
Endgame. Yeah. Which is, I mean, it spun right off of, the events of Endgame, or it spun right off of, Spider-Man.
Well, it had a couple years
from home,
delay,
and then it spun right off. But it was quasi direct community from Endgame to the Far From Home, which was the European vacation one, went right into this. Where Spidey lost his identity because, he made a deal with the Doctor Strange, who was a riff on Brand New Day, which is a classic Spider-Man story, where Spider-Man's identity was kind of quasi erased. So anyway, we now have confirmation that characters from the previous Spider-Man franchises, so Tobey and Andy Garfield, that Kristen Dunst, Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy, and Sally Field's Aunt May were all eyeballed to star in this film. I don't really feel like we missed anything by not having those characters. It was the film was pretty stuffed. You didn't feel?
Yeah. I mean, would we have seen them in their world before they came through the portals? Because that was one of the big deals. And when they have just like, hey, Spider-Man, I'm going to come and hang out with you too. I mean, that's how those characters came over.
Yeah, so that's how. I mean, the big hooting and hollering in the theater when I saw it, and again, I've just seen it. I own it on video. I've not watched it, which is, I don't know why I can't bring myself to watch it again. But when I saw it in the theater, the big hooting and hollering was when the portal opened, and from a distance you saw a figure that turned around and ran towards it, and then it was Spidey, and he ran through the portal and took his mask off, and it was Andy Garfield. That's as much of their world as you saw. So yeah, you understand that, it would have been kind of weird to shoehorn them in. Yeah, yeah. Well, it says, the writers are talking here, Summers and McKenna, two of the creators of the film. The only female characters with significant screen time were Aunt May and MJ. And so because of this, we were looking for a way to potentially create, other significant roles for females. So
Sure.
I don't know. I don't really know what that would have looked like. But again, even though I found the film very sad, I found it very good. I don't know what any of those characters really would have, chipped in. So I don't know.
Suggestion on that, Charlie. I think if we get, we're supposed to get another. Well, we hopefully will see Tom come back as Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but maybe it's time to broaden that cast out. I know they're doing their best to like do all these other movies, but bring in other Spidey heroes like
support.
Cat.
Oh, like a supporting
to
cast,
in more female characters. I mean, she would be a good one. I'm trying to think of are there any other iconic? Spidey
had a
female characters.
He had
heroes?
He had a decent supporting cast outside of Heroes. There was Betty Brant. There's Glory Grant with someone else from the.
I don't care about that. I care more about the hero.
I was just talking about
heroic things.
So, Black Cat, Silver Sable. God, you're gonna make me look at my action figure shelf. Well, then, of course, there's Jessica Drew as Spider-Woman. There's Julia Carpenter as Spider-Woman, but that's Madam Webb. That's all those people are ending up in that movie, and not really crossing over. So,
unfortunately, we're getting a different Madam Webb than we would want. But
I was trying to look over at my Spider-Man shelf for Firestar. I know. I'm just looking at what's on my shelf.
She was created for the animated series,
Silk.
but
Silk.
She's a mutant. Silk, yeah. They're all Spider-Verse type characters. I'm just trying to think of any other strong female heroes or villains that were part of Spidey's.
Those are the big ones. Yeah, I'm struggling. That's why it is handy to have these here in my studio here. But
Stan Lee needed to get woke, man. Where's all these female villains and heroes?
Those are the big ones. You got Gwen, Jessica. That's and then I have all my Spider-Man. I mostly have Spider dudes who are on the webs in my studio. I know it's terrible of me. I feel just terrible about it. But anyway, I don't know what is next for Spider-Man. The freshman class cartoon is on the horizon, and but that is not related to this in any way, shape, or form. So could be interesting. But I think that
Lady Octopus or Shriek. I'm looking at a page of Spider-Man female villains.
Yeah, Shrek. Well, Lady Octopus.
Janice Lincoln.
Well, if you're, that's Tombstone's daughter.
Lady
now
Beetle.
You see, the problem is that my Spider villains are. Oh, there we go. Are right behind my computer screen. Let's see who else I see. You pretty much got a lot of them. Yeah, most of them are.
Rabbit,
most of the rest
is that
of them
a new character?
Dudes. No, that's an old character. I had to figure that was one time. Got bagged. Okay. It's a dumb character.
So get on it, Stanley.
Yeah, I'm looking. Ouch! Too soon.
Too soon.
Oh my gosh!
Sorry, Stan. I apologize.
Oh no! All right,
yes.
Now I can put
I'm
my
going to be haunted now. But I do like when they look back what they could have done or they didn't do, and things they could have added, and maybe that'll be a future look. But I'd be curious when we get back to Spider-Man again because I really did enjoy that movie.
I agree, and I will commit to watching it again because it's one of those that when I'm on the road, I always have my Roku with me, and I'm like, I got to figure out something to watch, and I usually end up watching. Stand-up is my big thing right now. I'll put on some stand-up something, and I usually keep working. Or I put on some dumb movie. I always say to Missy, hey, Missy, give me a dumb movie to watch. Or I watch something that I need to do content related for the Patreon. But one night in the next several months, I'll watch this movie again. So speaking of things that I've not watched again, but in this case, something I may catch on an airplane at some point, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, is blowing up theaters
already?
Coast to coast. No, I haven't seen it, but you know
what?
Thought
you said you watch it again.
No, I said I said I wouldn't watch it again, but I'd have to see it the first time. My friend Tamara took her friends and everything, or took her family and everything. We saw it yesterday, and it was funny because she woke up. She said, well, I'm seeing Taylor Swift lately, but I woke up with a migraine. I said, based on the theater footage I've seen, that migraine might be coming back because I watched things on Kimmel this week, and then Colbert was out this week. He has COVID, but what's the other one we watched? Seth Meyers of footage of people just losing their minds in the theater. It looked like a mosh pit. people jumping around, screaming, dancing, slamming all around. But anyway, the headline is that obviously that's blowing things up. But Oppenheimer director Mr. Christopher Nolan has come out and noted that he feels that this is a real shift in the industry. Not only with direct cinema partnerships, but in general, this film broke almost $100 million, which in the old days was known as a blockbuster status in its first weekend. So this is like an Avengers movie in quality, or as far as in dollar amount. So Todd, what do you think it means?
It means that if we're going to have a lack of movies in theaters, we're going to have other entertainment come to theaters, concerts, performances on Broadway. You will see maybe even sports, anything under the sun you can get in a theater and get people to see it in a way that you couldn't afford or make it to is a great opportunity.
I think they absolutely have that now. I mean, in the preview clips, they always have like, the Met Opera through Fandango is bringing you, they have those.
Would you even know that though, unless you were in the theater?
That's exactly my point. But everybody knew about this. Everybody and their mother's, grandmother's, cousin's college roommate knew about this deal. And it was huge. So yeah, you're right. The traditional, what we've been dealing with in the last 15, 20 years with the super franchises and the superhero stuff and to the Star Wars to a lesser or greater extent, those films are all getting more expensive and being less profitable because they're pulling down less box office. But this, I mean, God, what's the budget on something like this? The concert was already going on. They didn't have to build sets or hire anybody extra.
Maybe like 10 million, because you did have to obviously get the crews, get everything set, but everything was kind of so much of it was baked into the cost of already being and doing the shows. This wasn't made for like, I mean, I could see like, you see these celebrities do these in residence in Vegas. Like, right now U2 is
Celine
at
the or Cher.
The Videodrome, which.
No, you're thinking of the Terrordrome from Cobra. No, what is it? The Orb, or what is that thing?
I think it's called the Videodome. Is that what it's called? I don't know.
We've talked about it. It's the something, but anyway, that's where the money is Vegas, and
like YouTube is right there. But I mean, YouTube is right now.
Yeah,
it's called the Sphere, Charlie. It's called the
Sphere. You know, it was a shape of some kind.
They're using it for advertising. I mean, the new video game for Spider-Man came out. And they had it on the outside. It's so cool. And when we go to Vegas, we'll be in Vegas in January, so I'm really excited to see if we can just even go in.
Yeah.
And they'll have something going on, because I'm not going to pay $400 to see U2. Sorry.
Yes. Exactly. But I don't think I'd pay $1. I'm not a fan of U2, as you know.
I like U2. They're kind of one of those big bands. I mean, they are kind of on that level of like they are like a Rolling Stones to
mega band.
In a later generation. But I was going to say,
go ahead.
What I was going to think was, we did see a couple weeks ago that the Talking Heads, their concert film came back out, was really stopped making sense, and that did very well in the theater as well. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity to really bring entertainment you can't really see in that type of way. I mean, you don't want to watch a concert film on your 22-inch TV. You want to see it on a big screen.
You talk about live action entertainment that is potentially out of someone's means, whether it be financially
Broadway,
or geographically. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they would have to. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Hamilton. Hamilton was more of a COVID release, though, wasn't it? Didn't it pretty much just come out, or was that before?
Many years before that. It was Disney brought it to Disney Plus early because of COVID. They said, "Oh, we're going to do that."
I don't mean the show came out during COVID. I meant, was it in theaters before COVID shut theaters down?
No, it was never in theaters. So. It was only on Disney Plus. That was part of their deal. It was supposed to come out like a year later, but they rushed it to get in there to get numbers. Get numbers.
They needed them. So this will be interesting. So, and again, concert films are something that can be produced and put out during the writer strike, or during the actor strike, because Taylor's not acting. She is really that much of a world dominating force. All right.
I will say this though. Taylor Swift, she dances about as well as I do. That's one of her, that's her kryptonite, is dancing. The woman ain't got much rhythm.
She doesn't have the moves.
She's got the white girl dance, Charlie.
Oh, so like this,
kind of like that. Yeah.
do like
that's okay.
The way my wife dances.
She's got a great
hands.
voice. Yeah, puts on a great show.
Very talented. All right, well, that is the end of the news. Todd, time to get out that Fuber app, that Feeble Uber app. The Geek Easy awaits down in Scugtown, Nastyville, where we can talk about stuff we've been enjoying. Let's go.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover bands playing, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So, Charlie, we're going to get a little bit of spooky before we get into something a little bit more joyful. And that is
For sure.
The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. This is Mike Flanagan's
Wait.
The Flanagan-verse.
Hold on. You make me want to leave the one I'm with and start a new relationship with Todd. Go ahead.
Yes, it's like the VH1 behind the music of Usher. Yes, that would be a good name for that, really, quite honestly. But he's doing well. He's actually going to be doing the Super Bowl halftime coming up.
Really good for him.
Yeah. I don't know if he's strong enough to do it on his own because he's got a couple hits, but he's not got like a catalog. So he's probably going to have like a variety of cavalcade of like guest hosts.
Yeah, and, that's pretty common.
It makes sense to do that, though. Yeah. But this is The Fall of the House of Usher dropped on Netflix about a week ago.
Yeah.
And Mike Flanagan is known for adapting a lot of things for Netflix. And his stuff is very spooky, scary. He did I forgot the series of old novels, the House on Haunted Hill.
The
Haunting of Bly Manor. So if you like his stuff like that, this will definitely be in your wheelhouse. He did a kids adaptation of a horror series I believe it was called the Sematary Stories, which I liked, but it was lighter fare. But this show, Charlie, holy crap. I think you'll love this thing. It is amazing. It is essentially taking, doing an adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher in a modern lens. It's kind of like Succession and Edgar Allan Poe came together because this is about a rich family called the Usher family who owns a pharmaceutical company. And these are bad dudes. They make bad drugs that make people think it's almost the opioid crisis.
Wow.
Kind of like that. And
maybe we should watch this tonight.
It's really good. Bruce Greenwood is the dad. He is
I saw
Roderick Usher. You've got Mary. Oh God, what's her name?
We have my girlfriend,
the president from BSG.
Mary McDowell Mary McDowell. And I've seen
she plays the sister of Roderick.
The promotional stuff. Carla Gugino, oh god,
she's very good in it too. So she plays an interesting role.
And Bruce Greenwood did a Stephen King together.
Yes, was it Gerald's Game?
Yeah, there you go. Yep, that's the one.
So basically follows this family who the two brother and sister form this corporation very well. They have basically Bruce Greenwood's character. He has a couple of his own, like full-on own kids with a spouse. She passed away, and then he's got a bunch of illegitimate children that he actually legitimized and brought them into the family. He goes, our doors are always open in the House of Usher. That's a thing.
To my illegitimate children.
So it's a big group it's like six family members, kids who are basically like Succession, all trying to weasel their way into the fortune. Henry, I'm blanking on his name. Henry Thomas is also in this because
he's also in the movie we're going to talk about in the Thunderdome.
Exactly. So he'd be like the main person you know of, but the other person that is fantastic, Mark Hamill plays the family lawyer.
Oh my god!
And he's so good in it because he's got that gravelly voice.
We're gonna watch this as soon as we're done here.
Oh, it's so good, Charlie. It's so it's so addictive and you just get into it. It is very horrific at times. Full on adult, like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But there's some of the kills in this, Charlie. Holy cow. I don't want to give it away, but it's like, whoa.
I got one question for you. Boobs?
Oh yeah, there's tons of stuff.
Oh, excellent. I'm in.
Yeah, debauchery, everything. That's a big part of this. So this is not for kids, but it is wonderful. It's all out on Netflix. I think I'm 4 episodes in of 8, but it is definitely you get into it. You just want to keep watching more. It's really good. So check that.
We had the same experience with the show I'm going to talk about once you're done here, but just cranking right through it.
Yeah, something a little bit less adult, and that is Elemental. It was the latest Pixar film. It had a good
Killed
turnaround. Well, no,
me.
it had a very well, yes, killed you, but
It
it
killed
actually had
me.
a very good turnaround, considering it launched at like $30 million. So people were like, this is going to be the biggest crapper in the world, and it actually turned it around. A rare success story
Not enough.
of yeah, and
Saved me at the box office. Yeah.
so I was really curious about this film because the buzz when it comes back around, a lot of people said, yeah, it's a very heartwarming story.
Yeah.
This one is obviously set in a world where you've got all of the elements: fire, water, earth, and air
Earth,
are
Wind, and
basically
Fire.
are all living in this world. They're embodiments, but this is really a movie about immigration. Talks about the first people in this place. I don't think they even mentioned the name of the world. We're all from water people.
Yeah.
And then they talk about the second wave, which I believe was the earth people. And then came the air people, and the last wave was the fire people.
Yeah.
And you can see, and this really hit home for my wife, who is an immigrant, and it was talking about all of the traditions, leaving your traditions behind, coming to a new world. Is it really fit for you? And we really enjoyed it because we could see a lot of those messages there. The guy who made this movie, his parents were immigrants from Korea, and this is also a Romeo and Juliet, because people from different worlds, where basically you've got the water person falling in love with the fire woman.
Oh,
and
no.
This is his story too. The creator of this, he married a Caucasian white woman, bringing into a Korean family, so a blended family as well. So very heart-touching movie. Made me laugh. The ingenuity of how they use the world and all the elements of it. Haha, elements. Really, really were well done. So I really enjoyed this film a lot. It is cute. There's no singing in this one, so it's not a musical.
Thank God.
But it's a good Pixar film, and I think it's definitely worth watching. A lot of people may not be into, it's got less goofy, like dumb animals that speak up, but it's got a lot of really cool ideas
It's
in
not.
it. And I really enjoyed it.
What was that? Foxtopia or YouTube?
Yeah, Zootopia was great.
Zootopia.
It was done by that, and that was done by Disney Animation, not Pixar. So some people are like, "Oh, it's just like Zoo." I'm like, it's their take on it, and I think it's good. I really like the animation.
Still Disney, yeah.
The animation style was really cool, and the way they used it was really neat. So I would recommend it if you're looking for something heartwarming and entertaining. Elemental's very good, so check it out.
Heart is warm enough. Well,
should be by the fire people.
Ouch! Speaking of nice warm hearts, damn you, Peacock! We tuned in to watch something, and this is the only way anything gets discovered anymore. You turn on any streamer, and there's their scrolling banner at the top. Hey, watch this thing. The top one right now, because the second season of this just came out, is an Australian show. Which Australia stuff is my soft spot. I love the culture. I love the comedians. Kind of a thing for me. But over on Peacock, they have a show that actually stars an American and a Brit called Wolf Like Me. It has to do with basically you set the storyline. You have a father who's an American living in Adelaide, Australia, with his 11-year-old daughter. Again, he's a widower. His wife died a number of years back. He's driving her to school, and he runs through a red light and gets T-boned, gets his car knocked over by a beautiful redheaded woman played by Isla Fisher, who is actually British, but she's playing an American, I believe. I think she's British. No? Yes?
I think she is.
I think so.
Maybe.
But anyway, what you do find out, and again, this is in 2 seasons. Season 1, 6 episodes. Season 2 has 7. That she happens to be a werewolf.
She's Australian.
And she is.
Yes.
I knew she had an accent, but I couldn't. I don't know that I've ever seen her in anything with an accent. I just knew that she was or is married to Borat, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, really?
I think. Yeah. But anyway, fun show, 30-minute episodes. It's very.
Oh, really? 30 minutes. Okay. I've been looking for this one because
a nice
Gad is great.
Nice, easy watch. What's funny is that the more that I watch Josh Gad, the more he reminded me of my late son Parker. They look a lot alike. It really struck me. At one moment, I was like, "Oh, he looks like my Parker." Absolutely adored this show. We started it yesterday morning. Finished the entire show before bed. We were home in between, I think, doing a couple of other errands we had to do. We're like, let's just leave this on. And no, you know what? A big part of the day, April was off doing a vendor show, so we were watching it. She came home and we finished the second season. She got home at like 7:00 and we're like, let's just finish it, push straight through to bed. Fun story, a romance story, but also the werewolf part of it, not extraordinarily graphic, and there's not a lot of wolf time in there. But season 1 did not end on a cliffhanger, but season 2 definitely does. So buckle up. And again, season 2 just came out. Writer strike ended. This is what April's asking me. Says, how does the writer strike affect people in other countries? And I said, well, particularly if the people starring in the production are members of SAG, it affects them the same way it does everyone else. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're not likely
unless
to see.
it's actually an international production. I learned this.
It was. Yeah, it was in Australia because it was made by Stan, which is a streamer over in Australia.
Okay. So, but these are SAG actors in a show that is I'm guessing because it's now being shown on Peacock, it probably doesn't. I don't know. I probably don't get a pass. I know productions and the BBC has a thing where they have their own Actors Guild and things. So it's like, that's not us. That's somebody else. So you could do shows over there, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
So anyway, jump on in again on Peacock. And I just absolutely loved it. So this is my pick of the month. This is one of the things I've watched for the first time in a long time. I really, really dug. So, cool. All right, moving on. We both watched the 3rd episode, the midpoint of season 2 of Loki. And oh my God, the show finally did something where I didn't feel like I was falling asleep. This was a great episode. I really enjoyed this. This was fun. So we finally tracked down Ravonna and Ms. Minutes. And we tied into the stinger we saw at the end of Ant-Man Quantumania, which had to do with the reappearance of Jonathan Banks as He Who Will Remains, a.k.a. Kang, a.k.a. Isn't that his name? Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Banks is the actor who played Mike in Breaking Bad. Sorry,
not Carlton Banks from
not the same guy.
Of Bel-Air.
He didn't do a dance for us. But anyway, yes, Jonathan Majors, who may cease to exist. He may cease to exist like Kang did, depending on how things go his way. But this was a fun episode. So this takes us back to Chicago in the late 1800s, both in the 1860s and then jumping forward to the 1890s, and showing how the One Who Remains kind of got his start through manipulation from the TVA and from Miss Minutes and from Ravonna, and then Loki and Mobius getting in the mix, and then Sylvie as well. Finally something interesting happened in this damn season. I'm so enthused.
Wow. I wish I was as enthusiastic about you, because I feel like we're being like anything if we're given anything, it feels like something big happened, and I feel like not much happened, but it was something, so that's better than nothing. Because
your expectations are all the way down here, so something mid feels like something big. Yeah,
it does.
I get it.
And I will say this feels like in a comic book. If you take it from a comic book lens, Charlie, you've seen this before. There's lots of stories in comic books that are not the biggest events in the world. They're not the biggest thing. This feels like one of those side stories in a comic that's like, I read it, was fine. Moving on to the next big thing or something. That's what this feels, and it's fine. And I think we're happy we're getting more content. It just feels like I just want them to do bigger things that requires abilities. It seems like Loki has finally started using his abilities, but the majority of the time they're running around talking. And that is the whole thing of the show.
It is a lot of running. It feels like a Tom Cruise movie. There's a lot of running.
Oh, we lost him again. Oh, we got to find him. We lost him again. Oh, where's that? We lost him again.
It's like Batman 66. Robin, we're in tip-top shape. Let's run.
Exactly. This is filler. There's so much filler in this. This could be so much tighter and be a 90-minute to 2-hour movie. But they feel like, well, we got to keep people on Disney Plus, so we're just going to have these go. But another thing, Charlie, Jonathan Major, horrible acting, man. When he was doing that like goofy thing over the top, I didn't think it was well done. It felt like he was forcing it.
His stutter talking. Yeah, I'm not a fan of his. I'm it was I that I didn't like Quantumania. I thought Creed 3 was okay. But the guy just doesn't really blow me away. Yeah, I'm totally with you. So for him to be the linchpin that's supposed to carry us into the next great era of Marvel, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, and I've liked him in other things. But I feel like people have pumped him up so much to think that, you're the next great actor.
That's why he's so strong. That's why
it ultimately feels like he didn't get much. he doesn't worry about getting direction because he's going to do whatever he wants. And he's like, oh, I'll do a British accent and I'll try to make myself kind of goofy. And
right.
It just didn't work for me. It just felt like he was trying really hard to be impressive, and everybody else on the screen was just being more relaxed and acting. And he just stood out as just, I think it works as good as a cameo, but not as someone you see doing something for a long period of time in this type of role.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So we have 2 episodes left.
No, 3 more.
Yeah, you're right. This was 3, not 4. Okay, so 4, 5, 6.
Like I said, we're filling it up. We're filling it up with nothing.
Yeah, filling it. So yeah, I'm dubious as to where this could go. This is the only Disney Plus show so far that has had a second season. Unlike over on the Star Wars side, where of the newer crop of shows, really only Andor has a second season of the newer crop. But Andor started slow and got amazing. Todd, you've said it's one of your top shows on the Star Wars side. But yeah, I don't know, man. And my biggest fear is that where can this go? That will have impact on movies that we don't know when we're going to see him. We don't know if Jonathan Majors is going to be a part of him anymore because of all of his real life troubles. It's just Marvel. My zest for the MCU is kind of zested out in a lot of ways.
Too much.
I'm fearful that the Marvels, like you said, if that touches 500K domestic, I would be shocked. It's certainly not going to be $1 billion film. So yeah, no. that's out here just in a couple of weeks. We're going to be seeing the end.
There's just not enough there to get people in. Yeah. Sam Jackson isn't a draw anymore. Brie Larson, the last time we saw her in that role, she was didn't have a huge role in Endgame.
Very cameo,
a small part of it, yeah. So and then people almost forgot about her movie, and then Miss Marvel. How many people saw that? And then you've got the woman from who was a minor role in Photon, who's a minor role in WandaVision.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, they're kind of like, hey, you remember what? Hey, did you see this thing on blah, blah, blah? It's like you said, Marvel used to be for everybody. And now Marvel is all this different stuff. It was kind of like SNL. It's like SNL this week. I don't know. Did you see SNL this week?
I watched quite a bit of it.
Yeah. Bad Bunny seemed very niche to me, and I'm not the niche. And I just didn't dig it. I'm glad for the people who loved it. But for me, I was just like, a lot of it just didn't land for me.
Yeah, and it was a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I feel like Marvel is right now. It's kind of niched itself.
He's like Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Marvel is Bad Bunny. We'll call it Bad Marvel Bunny. Bad Marvel Bunny.
Bad Bunny isn't even going to do the Spider-Man movie anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's a headline a little while back. All right, well, let's close the door on the Geek Easy. Todd, we're skipping out on the check this time. I know that I found a booger in my Manhattan, and so no tip for them. But one thing we can do, I'm getting out that Air Qantas app. Got to get down to the Land Down Under, Hologram Tina and the Mutants Await for a breakdown of Todd's favorite new film of the season, Pet Sematary, Bloodlines.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. The mutants had gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week, it's Shocktober week 4, and we're doing Pet Sematary Bloodlines from 2023, direct to Paramount Plus.
Point of order. I'll say it again. Your backdrop is an abomination. That's not the movie we're talking about. I object!
I love my backdrop because it reminds me of a better film in the series.
All right. I'll take over from here. Yes, direct. Lee released several weeks ago on Paramount Plus, home of far finer programs of the Star Trek nature. Anyway, in 1969, a young Judd Crandall dreams of escaping his hometown until he discovers the malevolent secrets of what is buried in the cemetery. He confronts a haunting family legacy that forever connects him to the place and unites with his childhood friends as they face an ancient evil that has plagued Ludlow since its inception. And just to be clear, this is a prequel to the 2019 remake of Pet Sematary, which starred that guy whose name I can never remember, who was very briefly John Connor in one of the Terminator movies, and he played in one of the Planet of the Apes films as well.
Not Eddie Furlong.
No.
He was in Pet Sematary too.
I know. Oh, that's right. There was another one.
That's right.
There probably weren't any.
The first trilogy.
connective tissue. I will simply say the 2019 Pet Sematary movie was without the benefit of the nostalgia goggles that gave Todd his background there with the movie he loves, is a better film. Because it has Jason Clarke has a more fleshed out story, and it really led us to some of the elements that we have here. Todd, I'll bless you the cast listing, and then I think your thoughts about this will be pivotal. Now, we had some actors in here that you see from kind of places far and wide. Jackson White is Judd Crandall, not familiar with him, but Natalie Allen Lind is Norma, the wife whose photo that you see,
girlfriend,
girlfriend, girlfriend who becomes the wife, because in the 2019
she was in
film,
Gifted.
Gifted.
That's where I remember her from.
Yeah, I had to look it up myself. We do have Henry Thomas from E.T. and the other movie you were talking about is Dan Crandall, the dad. We have David Duchovny as Bill Baderman, kind of a grumpy old hick farmer guy. And Samantha Mathis is his wife. She's actually the daughter of B.B. Bish, who was the Carol Marcus in Star Trek 2. Kirk's paramour. And then Pam Grier, who I barely recognized.
What has Pam been up to since Jackie Brown?
I'm not going to say it's, but you know what? I'm not going to comment because that would be rude. But yeah, those were the big stars of the film. So this is a prequel. And Todd, I don't even know why I'm surprised that you're already telling me you're not enjoying this, because you hate prequels to start with. So why don't you take us through it, please? Because it would be very spurless, anything that I could say.
So I have not seen the 2019 film. I heard good things about it.
Very good.
And I did love the original Pet Sematary movie. I mean, it was part of my teen years. Loved it. I just loved certain things about it. The scary kid. You got Tasha Yar in it. You've got Herman Munster. I mean, great lines like "Sometimes dead is better."
Agreed. It's
one of the best things in the world.
But again, through the eyes of member berries, and again, it was when we were it was 1989. We were teenagers, totally.
Yeah. So I had coming into this, I'm like, well, I'd heard good things about the new reboot. I'm like, so this is a prequel. That's fine. I can hear more about, maybe more about why this thing actually started, this Pet Sematary and these forces of evil. And apparently nobody learned from the first, from this.
It's Jurassic Park.
Exactly.
Let's make a park with dinosaurs. Nothing could go wrong. Oh, everything went wrong. Well, we got away with our lives. Well, let's do it again, but it'll be better this time. Oh, it's not. Over 6 movies.
It's the sins of the father premise, which my wife and I were watching this, and she's like, I feel like this is everything these days when it comes to horror films. It's the sins of the fathers, because everything that people did in the background, you are responsible for in your current generation.
Because it's going to try to kill you. Yeah, exactly.
So this movie was all about trying to get away from the town, and it's funny because Judd's dad keeps telling him, we really want you to get out of this town. And he's not really sure why. And, their relationship is a little bit torn. So they're going to join. So he and his girlfriend are going to join the Peace Corps. But along the way, just on the way out of town, they hit a bird and they slam on the brakes, and then they find a dog.
Would you get out of your car if you hit a bird? I mean, it hit their car and cracked the windshield, and they were like, oh, but I would have gone out and been like, was that a kid? No. All right, let's get the F out of here. And you just keep driving.
If you couldn't tell what you hit, you probably would want to see what you hit.
But you wouldn't be like, let's creep out on the road and look at this thing going, meh, and then they get accosted by a dog belonging to the neighborhood farm, which is owned by Duchovny's character. And Duchovny, I believe, he was in town earlier, and he said, "Yeah, my boy came home from Vietnam." And what's funny is that the bit with the kid who came home from Vietnam, who ends up being kind of the key villain in the film, was one of the newspaper headlines that Jason Clarke's character is pouring through when he's doing his Pet Sematary research in the 2019 film. So yeah, exactly. But it's not hard to figure out that the kid, his name is it Billy? It was Timmy and Judd, Manny. And then Manny, who's Native American, from the Native American family. They were childhood friends, but they, got into high school and kind of all went their separate ways, as frequently happens. Timmy goes off to Vietnam and he was killed. Sorry. It's Pet Sematary. You kind of see where this is going. Well, now
he wasn't killed. He came back and I believe killed himself.
Oh, why did I?
Because he was dealing with, remember, because David Duchovny was taking his body. They wouldn't just say, here's your dead son.
You're right.
Now you bury him.
I did miss, Carrie and Barry. You're right.
I did. The opening of the film. He was taking something to a grave, and he was with the dog, and the dog got grabbed, and that's kind of where.
Oh, now you see, that is something that I missed. Because I turned to April, I'm like, well, why does he have his dead kid's body? Did he go just dig it up and be like, I'm going to rebury him? How would he have done that?
All right, do that.
Yeah, this makes sense now. Yeah. So anyway. So yeah, it's emotional.
By the way, spoilers. Did we say that? Spoilers.
I think it's a foregone conclusion because that's what we've done with all the other, films that we've been talking about this month. So anyway, sorry. But if Todd's reaction to this is any indication, you're not going to watch it anyway. If you're in the Todd camp of prequel hating,
make your own decision and see it.
Very true. That is the cornerstone of what we have built SFU on, is that make up your own mind. We're just a couple of talking heads with colorful backgrounds. They go to the farm, and Duchovny's character is there, and Timmy is there, and then the dog attacks the girlfriend and scratches her up, and so now Judd has to stay in town a couple days. And then he gets embroiled in the whole, well, Timmy's going to try to kill everybody, and that bleeds over to the Native American family, and so everybody has to team up because certain characters get killed off. So we'll keep it somewhat spoiler adjacent. Certain characters get killed off and get reanimated, and it's funny that the character I'm thinking of that gets killed at and comes back, they're surprisingly articulate. And the same in the original with the boy who's like, "Mommy, I want to play with you," and he's running around with a knife, and he
Gage.
Gage. He gives a chop to poor Herman Munster, then eats his throat out. Where in the 2019 version, it's the daughter, not the son. Sorry, because Todd, you haven't watched it, but it's been out for 5 years. So
I may watch it.
Yeah,
I mean, because I've heard good things about that. Prequels should not weigh on if a modern.
So anyway, yes, I will tell you that it's the daughter, not the son. All right, and then yes, with Judd John Lithgow playing the Judd role, it follows very similar to the original film, kind of what goes down that way.
That's what I had thought, because I mean, it would make sense that they would have similar story beats, but they would play with them. But this one, they do get into the mythology of how this actually occurred, which I thought was cool.
Totally.
I like that part.
The kind of the flashback,
going back to,
flashbacky part back to colonial times.
To 16 something, the colony, and kind of like what caused it.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, we still don't know what this great evil is, though. So I don't know if this is tied into.
It's just great
else.
evil. Hey, it's original grade, 100 proof great evil.
And this pet cemetery with the dead spirits of the animals were supposed to fight off the great evil,
right? And that's why you have the big wall of wicker that's supposed to. Now another aspect, and this is interesting, it was touched on in the 2019 film, but really less so, or maybe I'm misremembering, in the 1989 film, was that the other part of the wall of wicker that's keeping the pet cemetery in the town walled off from the woods beyond is protection from a Wendigo. No kidding. It's in the book.
No, I don't think that was mentioned at all. Interesting.
Yeah, okay. I feel like it was touched upon in one. It was like an Easter egg, maybe in the '89 movie, where you heard like a bar, bar, woo, you heard a creature or something. But it's part of the book, as I understand, because April, of course, is a big Stephen King fan and has read many of the books. So, anyway, so what was it specifically that you thought was just a turd in the punch bowl about this one? What killed it for you?
The Judd's girlfriend essentially was kind of put on ice for most of the movie, and then one of the victims comes and tries to kill her. I don't remember if she was a part of the founding fathers, like she was
the families, because it was like it was like the 5 families of Ludlow,
exactly, and that's why they were being
targeted by
taken
Timmy.
Out. Exactly. So I don't remember if she was or not.
She was ancillary.
Lynn does not seem like a name that was on that list.
Yeah.
So, and then she was trying to escape, and then she did escape, and then she was essentially put down a hole, and then couldn't get out. Couldn't get out of this hole.
The mud swamp. Yeah.
Exactly. but all of a sudden she could kick her way out and remove everything to get out. I'm like, that's not happening. That's just a bad plot device.
That's like a last 5 minutes of an episode of Star Trek Voyager. They're like, oh, we're all the way up Shit Creek. It's 8:52. We got to get out of this one. Yeah, exactly. We got to get out of this bucket of syrup, like on the Dukes of Hazzard, right?
Yeah, this either needed more time or less time. I couldn't figure out what it was, because I'm like, all of a sudden it just. And the whole premise of how you get rid of them, okay. And some of I will say, the one death with the shotgun, impaled with a shotgun, that's a new one in my part. I'm like,
that was really something. Both, because the character, and again, I don't want to super spoil it, but the one dead reanimated character was particularly vicious, not only for the words, but not only for the violence, but with the words. Some really mean. She was really mean. Sorry, I said she. Yeah. Draw from it what you will.
And it was weird that it's silly deaths where everybody had to split up, and obviously that's going to go wrong. And it's like, God, why do I even ask? Why are they splitting up? Because they have to, because deaths have to happen.
I was going to say, what was the line from Ghostbusters? Let's split up. Yes, we can do more damage that way.
I will say I didn't like the main character. I thought he was highly uninteresting.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like he was effective at anything particularly.
Yeah. He couldn't protect anybody. I mean, in the end of it, his girlfriend gets bit and other people's in his family end up dead. I thought the mom, Henry Thomas's wife, was reanimated at one point because she walked away and had like a weird scar on her leg or something. And I'm like, I
saw that too. And I thought she was almost a victim.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe she got bit by a dog as well. I don't know. So Todd, I highly recommend that you and maybe but again, we kind of fall into the trap with the Star Wars stuff. Like, oh, well, you really could have enjoyed this if you had seen this prequel. Kind of like, your overall thought about Ahsoka versus Rebels. The 2019 film really informs some aspects of this. The ending of that film, I think, is vastly more interesting than the ending of the 1989 film. So I would say watch the film. I would say watch the film before the end of the month. Let's come back. Let's talk about it a little bit, just like very briefly. I would like to.
We'll see if I have time.
I would like to hear some thoughts about that. But I totally understand.
Yeah, it just seems like with a prequel, the reason I rarely like them, because it seems like they get to be lazy and know that you've already seen this, so we don't actually have to make it as
it becomes very granular.
We don't have to worry about a lot of it because you're already in.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like, this is a great standalone. Where I was going to say, if this is how this series got started, it shouldn't have got. It would not make me want to watch the next.
It should have been the one and done. Yeah, no,
so that's what I'm saying. You actually have to make a strong thing to make it worthy versus just saying we're cashing in, and that's where most prequels do. But
you do
get a good prequel. But yeah,
cashing in. So all right, okay. Well, to wrap this up, 9 out of 10 dead cats. What do you give it?
Well, I'm going to give this one originally was going to give this one a 3, but I'm going to give it a 3.5 because I loved the cover at the end of the movie and the credits. Hazy Shade of Winter. Really good take on it. It just reminds me that's such a good movie song. And then listening to the original by
Simon and Garfunkel.
By Simon and Garfunkel. I like the covers better than the original.
Yeah. Well, they're very they're very disparate, in particular in that case as well. So I will chalk this up to an even 5 dead cats. I found it enjoyable, maybe because I felt some portions of it did build upon the 2019 film. And you know what? It accomplished for us probably exactly what they were wagering for. Even though we'd seen the 2019 film, we did turn around and watch it again. So we gave Paramount Plus more minutes. And of course, the only way they are able to actually advertise is that 30-second block when you turn a movie on, and then they promote one of their own somethings, which in this case was probably referring back to this movie. So actually, it ended up being a zero-sum game for Paramount Plus because they were advertised with something that we had just watched. But they did get us to watch the other film again.
And now I know why this didn't come out to the theaters.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They couldn't string it into a big two-parter. So, all right. Well, and then I did because, again, Todd, as I've mentioned, I'm out next week. I'm in Dallas, Texas at my company's corporate headquarters doing some training. So I watched next week's movie a week ahead, and boy, is it a doozy. Is that our last Shocktober? Are we jumping into our last one? Yeah. Yeah. So, that's going to be a fun one for next week that we'll record next weekend.
That was a request by, we're doing House, and that was a request from John Sidorf.
Oh, very excited. One of our esteemed Patreons. I love it.
So Charlie, just let you know, Pet Sematary Bloodlines, 20% Rotten Tomatoes.
So they gave it 2 dead cats out of 10.
And a 52% audience score. So
there we go. The audience was
really loved it.
Right on track with me. 5 dead cats.
Exactly.
Which is not really worth
rotten to the core.
3 alive cats. All right. Well, anyway, folks, that's the show. Thank you as always for joining us. Todd, where do people find you out there?
They can find me primarily now on Threads, and I'm at Teoxtra and at Secret Friends Unite are both there. Also on X, I still put stuff out there because there's still more people out there.
True. And that's really why I'm really over on X a lot myself from time to time at the C3, dabbling a little bit more on Instagram, which is C3 Carpenter, spell it out. And that's the same on Threads as well, which I've really not been active. The big plug I want to put in is that here we're recording this here at the end of October in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I live. November 3rd through the 5th is the Grand Rapids Comic-Con, and our chapter of Starfleet International, the USS Grand Petoskey, which you hear me talk about each and every week on this show and bi-weekly over on Code 47. That is our big event. We have a great booth with set pieces and props and costumes, but more importantly, at this event, we're going to have our 2nd annual chapter meeting, the primary focus of which is an auction for charity. Two of our generous members, a father and son team, Dale and Todd Smith, donated over 50 Star Trek items purely for a silent auction to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Michigan, which April and I do in the name of our late son, Parker Carden. If you are in Michigan, if you are planning attending the show, please come to that event. It's Saturday night of the con, which is November 4th. After hours, after the show closes in Grand Gallery Outlook Room E. All are welcome. We're still working out the logistics. That's what the rest of my meeting is. I have a couple of long meetings to get all that ironed out, but it is going to be really great. We'd love to see you both at the show. Tickets available from the Grand Rapids Comic-Con website, plug. But if you're there anyway, come see us at the booth, and please do come to the charity auction so we can earn some money for these Make-A-Wish kids here in the state of Michigan. So that's my plug. That's it. I'm going to tell you, as always, friends, thank you for joining us. Sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Sometimes prequels are better when they're dead.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.